In the still hours before dawn, the laboratory was a realm of shadows, its silence punctuated only by the hum of equipment and the occasional drip of a leaking faucet. I stood before the chronogate, a device born from years of relentless research and uncounted fortunes, its sleek metal frame encasing the promise of mankind's greatest ambition, time travel. As its lead engineer, I had poured every ounce of my knowledge, dreams, and nightmares into its creation. Tonight, I would be the first to step through its portal, not just to prove its functionality but to escape a personal torment that no one else knew. The console beat, a green light flashing in readiness. Taking a deep breath, I initiated the sequence, the air vibrating with unleashed energies as the portal opened, a swirling vortex of light and shadows beckoning me to step through. With a final glance at the familiar confines of my lab, I crossed the threshold, enveloping myself in the unknown. I emerged into darkness, the air cold and still, a stark contrast to the controlled environment of the lab. My first thought was a failure, but as my eyes adjusted, I realized I was standing in the ruins of what appeared to be the same laboratory, yet aged by centuries, its walls crumbled, and its technologies decayed beyond recognition. The moon, unnaturally large, cast a pale light through the broken ceiling, illuminating the desolation. It was then I understood, the chronogate had worked, propelling me far into the future, beyond the fall of civilization. As I ventured outside, the world was unrecognizable, a wasteland of silence and shadows. The cities of man were now but skeletons of steel and glass, reclaimed by nature in a haunting display of time's indifference. In the distance, I saw lights, not of electricity, but of fire, a sign of life that drew me with a mix of hope and dread. Approaching the source, I found a group of survivors huddled around a campfire, their faces wary and haunted. They spoke of the collapse, an event centuries past, where technology turned upon mankind, decimating the population and leaving only remnants in its wake. The chronogate was known to them, not as a marvel of science, but as an omen of destruction, a harbinger of the end times their ancestors had feared. Among them was an elder who spoke of legends passed down, of the traveler who would emerge from the past to bring hope or doom. Their eyes upon me were a mix of reverence and fear, a burden that weighed heavily as I realized my journey was not just a personal escape but had unknowingly become interwoven with the fate of those who remained in this shattered world. Nights turned to days, and as I lived among them, learning their ways of survival and hearing their stories, I came to understand the profound impact of my invention. It was not just a tool for exploration but a Pandora's box that, once opened, could never be closed. The very fabric of time was fragile, a tapestry that could unravel with the slightest interference. And I, in my hubris, had torn through it blindly. It was during a foray into the ruins of a nearby city, in search of remnants of the old world, that I stumbled upon a chilling discovery. Hidden beneath layers of dust and debris, I found a lab eerily similar to my own, its walls adorned with schematics of the chronogate. But among the familiar diagrams were notes of warning, written by a future version of myself, a chilling account of a cycle that had begun with my first journey. Each trip through the portal, driven by a desire to undo the past or to explore the future, only led to further catastrophe, trapping me in a loop of my own making. The realization struck me with a terror that chilled to the bone. I was not the first iteration of myself to attempt this journey. I was but one link in a chain of countless others, each believing they could change the outcome, only to perpetuate the cycle of destruction. The horrors of this future were not just a consequence of humanity's folly but were my doing, repeated endlessly through time. With a heavy heart, I returned to the camp, the weight of my discoveries etched deep in my soul. The survivors, sensing a change, listened intently as I recounted what I had found, the story of our collective downfall intertwined with the paradox of my existence. The fire flickered as if mourning the revelations, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch into infinity. In the depths of despair, a resolve took shape. I knew what I must do. The chronogate, the source of this endless cycle, had to be destroyed. But its destruction required a sacrifice, for the gate could only be dismantled from within, ensuring its complete obliteration along with any chance of its reconstruction. The night before my final journey, The camp was silent, the survivors understanding the gravity of the morrow. The elder, his eyes reflecting the fire's glow, spoke not of farewell but of gratitude. In their belief, my action would not just end a cycle but would serve as a beacon of hope, a testament to the strength of the human spirit, even in the face of insurmountable odds. As dawn broke, I stood once more before the Chrono Gate, its frame now a symbol of both mankind's greatest achievement and its most dire warning. Initiating the self-destruct sequence, I stepped into the portal for the last time, the light engulfing me as the lab and the gate began to collapse. In those final moments, time seemed to stretch, a myriad of possibilities flashing before my eyes. Visions of the past and potential futures merged in a kaleidoscope of what was, what is, and what might have been. And then, as the gate disintegrated, the cycle broke, plunging me into darkness. I awoke to silence, not the silence of desolation but of peace. The lab was intact, the morning light filtering through the windows, the Chrono Gate a heap of twisted metal and shattered dreams. In destroying the gate, I had returned to my own time, but a different reality, one where the path of destruction had been averted. As I stepped outside, the world was vibrant, alive with the bustle of humanity, untouched by the horrors of the future I had witnessed. I knew then that my journey had changed not just my fate but the course of history itself. The knowledge of what could have been remained with me, a haunting reminder of the responsibility that comes with the power to shape the future. And so, I live with the memories of a future that will never be, a guardian of time, humbled by its vast, unyielding expanse. The Chrono Gate, now but a cautionary tale, serves as a reminder that some doors, once opened, may lead us not to the wonders we seek, but to the very abyss we fear. In the end, the greatest lesson was not in reaching through time, but in understanding the value of the present, of cherishing the moment we have, and of ensuring a future that, while uncertain, is shaped by our actions, our hopes, and our commitment to a world that thrives not on the conquest of time, but on the compassion and wisdom with which we navigate it.